I felt ashamed. I was weighing close to 300 pounds, so over 132 kilos. Like I lost the sense of who I was. My thought was, what if I just take my own life?
Real men, raw stories, radical perspectives. This is the voice of authentic masculinity. This is Manhood Speaks. Felipe Ramos, welcome to Manhood Speaks.
Thank you, Kanu. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's a pleasure. Yes, it's a pleasure to have you. All right, so tell me, who is Felipe Ramos?
Um, that's it sounds like a simple question, and um, I could share with you what I do, and that is I'm a coach. I am a partner. I have a life partner. We have we're going on 5 years. It's one of the best things I've decided to do to create a partnership and grow all together and support each other as we grow. Not easy. I am also the eldest of three. Grew up with two loving parents. Very privileged about that because, well, they are still together and they have shown us what it means to have a partnership in in all levels of life, spiritually, financially, and creating a family, right? And individually. So um, that's a little bit of, of who I am. Coaching, I am a sustainable weight loss coach. I struggled with obesity, with the disease. I don't know if you know that the obesity is now considered not a risk factor, but it has gone to be labeled now as a disease. So it's not,
Oh, I wasn't
yeah.
aware of
So
that.
it's not people obese people, but people with obesity, just like you would say people with cancer. And that has many
Oh,
implications in what I do. And I struggled with it for over 25 years. And in my life, I this 11 years ago, I decided to do whatever it took for me to heal from this. And I've lost over 110 pounds, so that's over 50 kilos, and I've been able to sustain it. So by creating a change, an internal change in me, and that's what I've that's what I now do. I help people change their mind so that they can change the actions they take in their daily life, so that in the long term they create new habits, a new way of being, which is basically moving away from the way of being that's causing you to have obesity, right? To develop the disease. Um, so I'm a learner. I love to read. I love to geek out about human behavior. I love learning about so many things. Right now, I'm learning about communication, storytelling, how to use my voice differently. It's really cool. I've learned, like, just reading books is has become like I had never picked up a book in my life for my own sake, right? Other than Harry Potter,
wow.
up till when I was like 37. And when I was 37, I took ownership of becoming a learner. like for my own sake, for like what is it that I want to learn. And since that moment I've been learning and just really interested in all sorts of uh areas. And I've been even like learned how to DJ. And I've had shows with my friends. So I've become an actor. I've had commercials, up to I got hired for international commercial, and this guy told me, we were on a break, right? Uh, and I sat down. My intention when I went there, it was to like really allow for the commercial. And when I was there sitting, just taking a break, one guy from the staff came and said like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" And he asked me how long had I been doing this for, and I told him, "Hey, this is my third commercial." And he said, "You gotta be kidding me! It looks like you've been doing this for
Wow.
10 years." And so I took that as like honored. I was honored because I was there really giving it my all, like, and it taught me how just we can show up the best as I could to really facilitate whatever process I was in, and people would see it, and it will be reflected in the product or the commercial, right? So all these experiences that I've been putting myself through have, like this interview as well, is just to stretch me a little bit more every time so that I can just lead the life that I want to lead and having fun while I'm doing
That's a
it. It
lot.
is.
And I must say, quite an interesting view of who you are as an individual. So tell me something. Tell me a bit about your upbringing.
Sure. My upbringing. I was born as soon as my parents arrived from Europe. They got married, and then they decided to travel the world for a couple of years, and they went off to England and to Sweden, and they did everything. And when they got here, my mom told my auntie, "Hey, I think I have a problem. I don't know. Like, I feel like I have a tumor." And she went to the doctor, and then she came back and told my auntie, like, "You know that tumor I was telling you about? Um, yeah, I'm pregnant." So ever since that, my auntie
Wow.
has teased my mom, like, "Yeah, that's the first talking tumor I've ever met." So I grew up in 1980. Since my parents had arrived to Colombia, they were both professionals, but they, like my mom says, they were poor and undocumented. And they just started working really hard to provide for me. And then came my sister, and then 8 years later came my brother. My dad got into the oil business, and but it was hard, so he had to go to remote places, and we followed as family. And then he did really well, so he was moved on to Panama when I was 12 years old. So from my in my upbringing, I felt like I was always shifting from place to place. So I started here in Bogota, the capital of Colombia, and then we moved to another town, Barranca, and stay there for like 2 to 3 years. Then we came back to Bogota, same city, but if it was another stage of life. And then we moved to Panama, and then we stayed there for 3 years, and then we came back. And then I went to the military school, to military, because here in Colombia it's mandatory. Um, so growing up, it was like I was blessed to have resources. My parents, both my parents, provided for us. but it wasn't easy for me because I felt like I I always looked for someone to guide me, like to tell me, like, hey, this is what's up here. Like, this is how you make friends. This is how you talk to girls. This is how you do this and that, right? Um, and and I didn't. Like, I had to sort of figure it out on my own, and that and also me and my sister had a fight early in our lives, and that created a ripple in our relationship, and I grew up feeling rather lonely. That was an early childhood wound that uh, led me to, without me knowing it, I know it now because I've done a lot of work around it. But I grew up uh, just putting other people's needs uh, first, and so much so that when I was asked, I'm 45 years old, and when I was asked 3 years ago, so what is your need? I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. What is my need? And I started thinking, and then I came to realize that I I had little practice in reflecting upon what was it that I needed in that moment, and because I had been putting other people's needs first throughout my entire life. Um, so that wound with my sister and having parents, but parents that worked all the time, so that they were loving parents. Don't get me wrong, right? Like I am so grateful for everything they provided. Um, but I would have much rather have less resources, and would have loved to have more time and more guidance, especially from my dad. Um, so that was me growing up, and it's only until very little ago that I've been doing a lot of soul searching and a lot of reflecting and a lot of um, learning about my own self to gain stability on who I am as a person. Which is why when you asked me who is Felipe Ramos, I was like, wow, that sounds simple, but it's a very deep. It could be a very deep question. So it's not just the roles I do, but it's also how I interpret my own existence, right? And for me, it's more like I'm energy, and I'm a and playfulness. If I have to distill it to who I really am, that's what's shown up throughout my entire life, like being playful and being very energetic and positive.
All right, thank you for that. You mentioned that you're an avid reader. What is the most recent book you have read and the most significant idea that you have gained from this book?
So I have one right here that I just finished. It's called Smart Brevity, and it's the power of saying more with less. And what I've gotten from it is just learning about how putting my audience in front of me and really saying, like, how can I tell them this in the smallest way I can. Of course, one thing is reading it, the other one is applying it, right? And this comes from practice. So what I get from that is that because there's a time component to developing the skills that we want to have in life, well, we better pick, like we like I make sure that the skills I'm going after are skills that I not just want, but that are going to serve me in many areas of my life. And communication is the one that I keep seeing that, my God, like how come we are not taught at schools, man, how to communicate better? Yeah, it's unbelievable to me. So I was I graduated from economics, and when I was told that I didn't have to do a thesis to graduate, I was, yes, celebrating, partying, and looking at my other friends, engineering friends, like, ha ha, look at you, you have to work all that. I can graduate without just doing that thesis, right? And when I did a master's in business administration, and I read that I didn't have to do a thesis, I was also jumping again, like, yeah, here we go, man. I'm saving myself all this time and struggle. And now that I'm a business owner and I'm creating this, like, now I realize that what I was choosing was not developing the skills that I needed to communicate better, to
Mm,
have a more powerful impact, to provide for people, right? To give my message to others. And I realized that I communication. Like, the reason I'm telling you this is because communication has gone from me thinking, oh, that's just something for TV presenters or models, right? And it has gone to become the, hey, this is a number one skill that we all need to develop in our lives, because this skill dictates heavily the quality of life that you and I and your
mm.
audience and you guys that are listening to this will have. So that's what I'm getting from the books I'm reading. Um, like the one before that, Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards, and it's just how to engage with people better, because we are social animals. And if we can communicate better, our life will be better. Absolutely. What do you think about that?
I think that is very interesting. I also think that is also very important as well, because this is how we interact with each other. It's by communication, and we can only improve our relationships by improving the way how we communicate. So I'm right there with you. I agree with you 100%.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, quite interesting. So I see that you are focused on developing yourself, developing your ability to
Hmm.
communicate. But you have struggled.
Yes.
You have struggled with obesity. How how was your communication with yourself during that period where you struggle with obesity? What were you telling yourself?
So it's 25 plus years, right? But I can share with you a very specific part of the struggle, which was when I hit rock bottom. And I I didn't know it then, but I had this idea that I had to be successful and rich, and that was going to dictate my status, right? With my family, with my friends, and that just meant how important I was going to be for the people around me. Um, and that's why I was pursuing a career in management consulting. That's why I went to uh, the States to study an MBA. and I wanted to stay there, but something happened there, um, and it was I lost my. It was as if someone had pulled the pin that held me together, and I just fell. Like I lost the sense of who I was, and without me knowing, I didn't get to stay in United States to have a career in management consulting. And when I came back here home, Colombia, I felt ashamed because I had told everyone, right, like this is what I'm gonna do, and now I didn't have the opportunity to do it. Like I knocked so many doors in here, and I didn't want to be here. So I started to not want to engage with people, and I started not to talk to my friends, and I started not to just not even engage on Facebook, just like hide. I was hiding, and I didn't know why. Now I know that what I was going through was that I was judging myself so harsh, so much for what had happened. The story I was telling myself was putting myself as a victim that I didn't want to hear it. And if I connected with others, that would mean that I would have to tell my story. And that would mean I would have to feel it, feel all that judgment. And so I just hid away so much so, Canoe, to the point that I was weighing close to 300 pounds, so over 132 kilos. I don't know exactly how much I was the highest because when I was that heavy, I just didn't want to weigh myself because that was more judgment, more self judgment. Um, and it came to the point where one day I was in my parents' house. They weren't there. It was just noon, sunny, just a beautiful day. And I came out of the house, and my head, my thought was, what if I what if I just take my own life? And
Oh,
I that just woke me up. I couldn't believe I was having that thought after all the opportunities, the loving family that I had had. Um, I couldn't believe it because before that, I had already an opinion around people who take their own life, right? Who commit suicide. I was like, it's like people who are not being supported and haven't had a loving family and haven't had opportunities, and suddenly now I'm having this thought, and I'm saying, how am I having this thought if I have had support, if I have had a loving family, and I've had I've traveled the world, I know a second language, I have friends and all of this, and like I've been educated. So it just it woke me up because I felt like who like I was cheating everyone else who hadn't had the opportunities and that I had had. I felt like I was being like I judged my own self in that moment again. I'm just realizing it as I'm telling it to you. That's why I laugh, because we're talking about self judgment, and that gave me energy. It got me to move away from, oh, poor me. Here is poor you, poor me, poor Felipe that didn't get the opportunity that he wanted, that he worked for, then and didn't get it, and he just like he wants just a pity party, whatnot, and I started thinking about the people who weren't doing that, who had less opportunities, and I felt like this, like I'm cheating them, and so that gave me like a whole different perspective, and that's when I rose like a phoenix from the ashes. I was that idea of taking my own life got me to like be born once again and move away from poor me, and it reconnected something inside of me that gave me the power to say, you know what, I'm gonna do everything that I can, and I am going to solve this problem, this situation, and that's when it all shifted. Um, and I tell you this because so many times I thought that I was the I was just the victim of circumstances, of other people's decisions, of um, what was going on around me, of my environment. And if I can give your audience this one thing is, we are all resourceful. We are humans, and it's my connection to my resourcefulness of figuring it out that has allowed me to go from that day till today, where I have healed the connection with my dad. I have healed the connection with my sister. We've gone from being just siblings and sort of like enemies a bit to become best friends. And she's arriving today. I get to see her today,
Wow.
and I'll have a relationship with her kids and with her husband. Like it's been such a shift for me. And it all started because I connected. I made a decision to change, to turn it around, to do whatever it took, whatever it was in my power. And that's why like I became a learner, and like learning from other people's experiences, and what is it like, that's how I've been to like create like just skills much faster than if I had just kept being by myself.
Wow. That was a very profound story, and I want to thank you for being that vulnerable and sharing that deep side of you. I want to address something, well, to ask
Sure.
on this question. You felt shame when you were unsuccessful when you went to the
Yeah.
United States. What were the thoughts that you were having around that feeling? What were you telling yourself?
What I was telling myself was, I can't show up until I'm successful. I can't show up until I am unteasable, if you will, until I am like armored, right? So they, whoever can try to come at me and question me and say, um, "Hey, haha, you failed," right? Like, no, I didn't. Look, right? Because like I like before I went to the States to study, I remember we were having lunch with some friends. I worked at a bank, and we were eating, and one of them asked me, "So how much is it to go there?" And I said, "It's a lot of money." And he said, "Wow, that's like, $200,000. That's so much money. Like, what happens if you fail?" And I told him, "I'm not gonna fail. And you know what? I much rather bet this money on me and try to go after going, just having a better life, and And if I fail, I'll like, at least I tried. That's what I told myself. But when I was feeling that I had failed, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I had $200,000 sitting, like right, like this. I worked my ass off at the bank and to save, because this was a long term plan. Like like my
Mm.
5 year. I didn't have kids, and I saved it all to so that I could, my earnings, so that I could go. And I had to take loans here with my dad, with my parents, and also in the states. And so what I was telling myself was, I don't want to be teased. I don't want to be ridiculed. I don't. Yeah, I don't want to be bullied. That's what I. That's what I was telling myself. And so I won't show up until I have the perfect picture to show people, so that they can't tease me. It's like I wasn't willing to show my human side, my like you said, my vulnerable side of, hey, like, one thing is, this is what I wanted, this is what happened, and being okay with that. I wasn't okay with what had happened, because I felt like my self worth was was at stake if I showed my vulnerability, if I showed that I didn't achieve what I set out to.
What is a lesson that failure taught you?
So many lessons. But that
Mm.
failure led me, that
That failure.
failure led me to connect, like I told you, with my resourcefulness. And my resourcefulness got me to learn about the importance of emotions. In our cultures, Colombian culture is a very macho culture. And it's not just the guys, it's also the women. Um, it's a culture. Of course, there's been changings going on, but there are changes going on. But here we are taught that men don't cry, men don't show emotion, that we have to present ourselves like a solid rock, and you don't share, you don't, you don't share your fears, you don't share the human aspect of yourself. And that is what I was doing. And so that experience led me to find the power of emotions, and how my culture, without it knowing it, without me knowing it, was taking away one of my biggest powers, which was my connection to self. My emotions are not weak. I came to learn that my emotions are not a sign of weakness, but rather my emotions help me tackle the world. They are the language between my body and my mind, and they are in they foster my survival. They help me uh, confront the world, the situations that I'm in, and they help me, right? And when I was able to realize the power of emotions and lean into that, and like I went from I don't cry to hey, I cry once a week today, like now.
Wow.
And I feel so much lighter. I have a better relationship with my partner. I have a better relationship with myself. And I have a better relationship with food, right? Because before I used food to suppress all that emotion. Like, hey, I have to show myself at this. I want to be a leader, and leaders don't cry. We're rocks, and so I'm like, man, that hurt, but I can tell it. I can't show people, so I better like I'm gonna eat myself so I can soothe myself. And that was one of the reasons why well, I had obesity because of my relationship with my own emotions. And that showed me that I am a system, and emotions are a key component, a vital component, a healthy component of my system operating at its best. So when I suppress my emotions, I am making my system less effective. And that is going to have implications all around my life, in my health, in my relationships, my external relationships with everyone, my internal relationship with myself, and also at a spiritual level. So that was the most powerful takeaway that lesson that it brought me, that struggle.
There's beauty in the struggle. And I can say that that experience that you have had, it it goes counter to what is generally pushed in society. And as you say, in your culture in Colombia, as well as in many other cultures around this world, that men are supposed to suppress their emotions. Men don't cry because crying is a sign of weakness. And it is something that is often programmed into boys. So they become men who are unable to express their emotions. So I think that you have had a really powerful experience and revelation when it comes to emotions. So, what would you say to a man who has been brought up with that programming, and in his mind, another man showing weakness, showing emotions is a sign of weakness? What could you say? What would you say to a man who still thinks like that?
That's a great question because I've had conversations around this, and the way the last man I talked to about this was last weekend, and we were sitting uh, at this um, rooftop in Cartagena, beautiful city. We're at a party, and this is a young man, like he's 28, I believe he was. He's from the coast, Colombian coast, from Barranquilla, and we're talking
Tranquila.
about it. And he's like, we're talking about scuba diving. I love scuba diving. I have an advanced, and I know the EFR, which is like first aid in water when you dive. And so he's asking me all these questions, and then he says about it, and he says like, man, like just diving with my partner, like I don't know, like how I would feel if she would be the one to help me in a situation. And I was like, well, sure, you don't want that, but it is important for her to be able to rescue you and help you out if you have a problem. Oh, I wouldn't want that, right? And he says, and I'm like, no, listen, yeah, I understand you don't want that, but you have to be prepared to because if you never know what's going to happen, right? And so he was really struggling with the fact that he would have to be held by someone else, right? Like that was the mentality, was I can, like, I have to be the man, and I have to do this on my own, and I have to show that I have it all together, right, and under control. And what I told him is, I understand you this is how you want to be, but I want to show you that life isn't how you wanted it to be. Life can throw you curveballs, right? And it's better if your partner is also prepared to help you when the curveball hits you and not everyone else. So what I'm saying is, I know that you want to help others, and the best thing you can do to help others best, to the best of your ability, is to take care of yourself the best way you can. And you got to put yourself first, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And for you to have a full cup, your system has to be well taken care of. And your emotions are a vital component of your system being well taken care of. So if you want to show up for your loved ones the best way you can, you better start taking action towards allowing, giving yourself permission to be vulnerable. And hey, you will start feeling the power of allowing your emotions, because your emotions, once you express them, you will feel much lighter. You will rest better. You will laugh easier. You will be able to communicate better. You will be able to connect with everyone else around you better. You won't spend, your energy will be higher. You will have, you like, it will bring so much benefit all around you, and it will make you a better person, a better partner, a better leader, a better family member, a better society, a member of society. So it's give it a try, and really check in with yourself, how you feel, and start, like, if I can give you this, like, where to start is, start with your best friend and start having a conversation around this, and show yourself, like, and see how that feels, because we all want to help everyone else, but we don't want to be the one who gets help, right?
So true.
But asking for help
Mm.
is you allow others to help you with their own skills, and you will feel connected. You are human, we are human, we are social beings. That connection will help you rise from above, and it'll speed your progress, and the your you will begin to thrive rather than being stuck in survival mode. That's what I would say, Canoe.
But if I ask for help, people may think that I am weak and they may look down on me. And I may feel less of a man because, as a man, I am supposed to do whatever I have to do. So, why should I ask for help if society is going to look at me and say, there goes a weak man. He's not man enough to stand by his responsibilities. Why should I ask for help?
That's a very important question. Thank you for asking it, Kanu. Um, why should you ask for help? In my experience, it's because I don't know it all. I don't have the skills, all the skills that are required for me to thrive. That's why I read books, because this is me asking for help from someone else who has had 30 years of experience and is compacting all their lessons in 230 pages, and I can access that. I don't have to wait for 30 years of my life to go by for me to say, oh man, if I had this skill that I've had developed back when I was 20, or in my 20s, or in my 30s, or in my 40s, like my life would have been so different. Um, I have access to that, and that is leverage. That's how I can make my output can increase. We all have the same time in a day, right? And the people that thrive are the people that have more leverage in their life, more connections with people, right? I can ask for more favors. That's leverage, right? If my a family member goes ill, and I know a doctor at a hospital, that's where uh, I can probably help her out with a connection, right? That's asking for help. That gives benefits to me and those around me. So the more I I access help and I provide also help for others, but asking for help gets me to develop my relationships, make them stronger. It allows for me to not get stuck and allow to get benefits or solve my situation much faster. So it also reduces the pain I go through, the not the pain, because you can't move away. It's not pain. We all experience pain, but it's more the suffering, right? Because when we don't ask for help, we are choosing to suffer when we could end that suffering just by saying, hey, I don't know. And to do that, well, you have to recognize that what other people think of you is important, but it's not the most important thing. You When you keep putting other people's opinion above what you think of yourself, you are you have a losing strategy, because you can't control what other people think of you, even if you do the right thing, even if you have the best intentions in your life. So developing your own self-worth, your own opinion of what you are doing, and knowing that, hey, you know what, I'm a man enough to say I don't know what I'm doing and I need help. That's a man right there, because a man not just provides, but also takes care of his or of his tribe, right? And knowing when to ask for help is a, is a trait of a real leader. If you don't, you're always going to stay like accept other people's opinion will keep you in a safe zone, in a comfort zone. It might not feel comfortable, but if you're not taking action to solve the problem, then you are not being the best man to provide for your own. Um, that's why it's all about developing our own self leadership. It's not about what other people say. It's about what you hold to be true and being aligned with what you value. You can't allow what others people think for to influence you in such a way that you much rather suffer than to be, accept for a moment, hey, I don't know it, and then access the help that you can get to solve the problem wherever situation you're in. That is a real man right there in my book.
That is a real man. So what I'm getting is me asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. Actually, it is a sign of strength because it prevents me from suffering for an extended period when I can simply put my hand up and ask. So I don't have to go through years of suffering. And I also love how you said that other person's opinion are important, but they are not the most important thing. It is about you taking care of yourself, you leading yourself, you pretty much helping yourself when you ask for help. That is powerful. That is deep. That is the type of conversations that men ought to be having. That is the conversations that we need to focus on. And I especially love when you spoke about that conversation that you had with the young man where when you were speaking about the diving, scuba diving. And I think that is something that we are missing in society where men who are much more experienced and speaking to the younger men who are less experienced and who needs that sense of guidance. Can you speak to me about mentorship? Men mentoring young men. What is your opinion on that?
I say we all should go like look for a mentor. Absolutely. Absolutely. Go find people that resonate with you and your values, right? And there's so many people that around us that are aligned with their values. So like having a mentor, that's pretty much what I wanted when I was a kid, right? I wanted a mentor. I wanted someone to show me the ropes. Um, and I didn't have it. And I know that my life would have it wouldn't have kept me from painful situations in my life, but it would have kept me from a lot of suffering. And not that suffering is not valuable, because I suffered and it led me to lessons that are so profound that have changed my life, which is what I'm sharing with you. Um, but having someone to talk to who listens to you actively, who cares about you, who has skills that you don't have, and who's also like from the sideline watching you being in the arena and being able to have a perspective that can add value to your own so that you can make informed decisions in your life will always give you a boost. It's sort of like Super Mario, right? Where you just find yourself a mushroom and grow, and now you can deal the with the world much easier. Definitely, I would absolutely recommend having a mentor, and it can be a woman, a man. It could be a family member. It could be someone at your job, and you also could have like it could be also your partner. You know, me and my lady, we sit on this couch back here every Tuesday, and we just 7 p.m. no TV. We just sit down, have a beer, a brewski, or a glass of wine, and we share with each other what's up with what's going on with our lives, professional wise, and of course that also has to do a little bit with our personal lives. But we share so that we can both uh, be accountable and reflect on the week, because we do it weekly every Tuesday night, and that helps us sort of unpack what's going on so we can have share each other's perspectives and make better informed decisions that ultimately are being more aligned towards where we want to go, right? Even if it's uncomfortable, because that's the other thing, you know, is growing and moving towards making a better life for myself and for ourselves will put us constantly in situations that feel uncomfortable. But if we're not feeling uncomfortable, that doesn't, it means we're not stepping outside of our comfort zone. We're not growing. And so we have accepted that for us to have the life we want, to grow towards the goals we want to achieve, feeling uncomfortable is a requisite. It's part of the journey, right? So that's why asking for help might feel uncomfortable, but hey, I got to do it if I want to get to where I want to go, right? If feeling my emotions feels new and weird, and talking about them feels uncomfortable, hey, that's a requisite for me to grow and become the leader that I want to be in my life, right? For the ones I love and for myself, for my community, however big your community is. And so having a mentor is a key component for you to, for us to grow and achieve and live the life we want to lead.
And if I may add, a mentor doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you know. A mentor may be someone that you find on YouTube. It may be someone that who has written a book, their biography, their autobiography, or any work that they have done. So, getting a mentor it is actually easy. It's not necessarily having to have someone who is physically there in your life, because many of my mentors have no clue that I exist. And I am almost certain that it's the same for you, because you read a lot. So these books are mentoring you
Yeah,
as well. So that is something that as men we need to we need to get into that scheme, that movement, because as you said, we cannot know everything. It is impossible. So find a mentor, whether alive or dead, but get someone who is in alignment with your values. I love how you put that
yeah,
across.
yeah, yeah. And if I might add,
Sure.
we when you were saying that, like what popped into my head was we tend to look at the lucky ones versus the unlucky ones, and
Hmm.
the how do you define luck? And what came to me was luck is it's preparation meets opportunity, right?
Preparation meets
And
opportunity.
you don't you can't uh, create the opportunity. Like it will present to you, but what you can control is how prepared you are when the opportunity comes. And every single book that you read is another soldier in your army. And you will, the more reads you, the books you read, the bigger your army will become so that you can face those moments for you to overcome. Um, that's what came up for me when you were saying that. So thank you, Ken.
And to add to that, you drew the metaphor of Super Mario when he got the mushroom and he got bigger. So by seeking this knowledge and pretty much adding soldiers to your army, you are going to, it's that mushroom effect for Super Mario. And when you encounter the struggles, or you encounter that next enemy who becomes larger as Super Mario goes along, you are much more equipped to face that dragon or whatever is that obstacle in your path, and be able to
Yeah,
defeat him.
or
So
befriend them, right?
or be or befriend, as the
And
case
create an
may be.
ally. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's not always about
Oh
defeating,
yes.
right? It's about growing stronger uh, through connection, right? It's not about just
Mm,
who is the strongest and me, I'll teach you, right? Because that's more of a like a wounded person or individual. Like I have to show you that I
yeah.
I beat you, right? It's more like, hey, no, like that comes from a mentality, the idea of a I I must overcome and show I'm the strongest, so that everyone else is weak, right? Before what I was talking in my story, how it was like I didn't want to show that I had weaknesses, right? Um, but rather, what really connects us is the imperfections and that we all have. We as humans don't connect with someone who's perfect. They can tell us like our life is perfect, right? And we'll be like, oh, that's so cool for you, but I cannot relate to that because my life is full of imperfections. So a real leader will
Yeah.
share his or her imperfections, and that's where we will connect with them and say, hey, I know what that feels like. And so if I can see that my leader shares their own struggles, I understand that they know where I am, that they got me. They get me. They know what it's been like. And if they know that, then I can see how they can truly guide me, right? So from a leader perspective, so if you want to be a leader, you sharing your vulnerable side will will help you connect with other humans and will make your 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 crew much stronger, and you will be a better leader to guide your tribe. Yeah, it's not just about like destroying the enemy. It's about growing and connecting and making your own much stronger. Sometimes that's making alliances.
Wow. I love this. You spoke about making an ally, instead of simply conquering that next thing. And that is something that men often struggle with because, and I'm not going to generalize it and say most men or all men, but we have that sense of masculinity where we are competitive, and it's about competing, it's about dominating, it's about that constant striving. But here you are saying that you can connect. You can, instead of creating more enemies along the way, you can create allies. And when you create allies, you actually move further as an individual. You become stronger as a man because of the connections that you are making along the way. And this is something that I had never thought about until you made that point. And I think that is a very important message that you are sharing there where that is concerned. Ooh, yeah.
Cool.
Wow. Wow. There was something else that came up. Oh man. And I just, it slipped me when you were speaking. But it may come back. I should have noted it, but I missed it. I just want to go back to this experience you had when you became obese and you felt ashamed. Oh, right. The point
Okay,
has now
cool.
came back. It is that sense of one, men tend to not open up, especially when it comes to emotional stuff. And you were ashamed, and as a result of that, you hid behind food. But you also said later on that a man who is open, who is vulnerable, he builds connection with others. And that is something that is very important, that as men, when we are open, when we are vulnerable, and we show those elements of us where we have made mistakes, where we have failed, where we have struggled, it creates that connection with others, that it is okay for me to feel. It is okay for me to cry. I think that that is such an important message to get out there as well. For us as men to to start that process of opening up, of being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Do you have any more thoughts that you can share on that or around that
Yeah.
topic when it comes to a man feeling ashamed and the benefits of him moving away from being ashamed of something that has occurred with him or something that he may have done, and how vulnerability could benefit him and other men as well.
Yeah. I as you were just asking the question, what came up was, if you want to be a leader, if you want to have the quality of life the leader has, then for you, for you have to lead, which means you uh, there's no such thing as a passive leader, right? A leader is active. A leader takes action. So when it comes to vulnerability, there's a power of connection. As we mentioned before, perfection doesn't connect with anyone because no one's perfect. No one. We might want to show ourselves as perfect, but no one, there's not a single human being who has a perfect life. Even if social media tries to convey it that way. And so, if you truly want to be a leader, and you don't have to be a global leader, right? Just a leader in your community, someone who takes care and in creating and helping you and your family and your own to thrive, to have a better life, to move away from struggle and move away from survival mode and into thriving, uh, then what you get by putting yourself out there first is, by being vulnerable, you're going to get others to feel safe because they see that you have the power to be humble, that you have the power to acknowledge when you've made a mistake, and that is going to improve the trust that others bestow upon you. And that's why you will become a leader. But so the only way to actually become a leader is for you to lead, for you to put yourself out there. Yes, it will be scary. It will feel like there's no such thing as a fearless human being, because fear is not a bad thing. Fear is a biological experience that we all have as humans. We can't walk away from that,
Hmm.
right? It's like ego. The ego is also something that the human has. It's just how do we relate to that and how much power we give to it, right? So if you can't walk away from fear, then what you need to do is to change your relationship to whatever it is that you fear, especially the most, right? And when you change, and how do you change that relationship? The way I've changed it is by taking uncomfortable action. Is by acknowledging that, hey, I'm feeling fear, right, Kanu, I'm feeling fear about doing this, but I know that why I'm doing this. I know the importance of doing this. I know, like, for asking for help. Like, I feel fear. I'm fearful that I will be seen as a weak man, but I know that if I ask for help, I will get resources, information, contacts. I will get maybe some goods, right? Like some sort uh, 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 of resource that will help me in my situation. Just because I am accepting how I feel, that fear, and what I'm connecting to is to my courage to step into that fear and say, all right, I understand that I have fear, but I understand why I need to do this because this is going to help me and those around me. And so I choose to be a courageous leader and lead and be active and say, hey, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling ashamed. I am feeling that. And what you will get in return is trust, connection, resources, right? And a better capacity to deal with whatever it is that you are dealing with in your current life. It's not for everyone. That's why I'm saying if you want to be a leader, if you want to do it, like if you want to have that quality of life, if you want to thrive, that's what you got to do. Right? You got to face your fears and take actions. The way I like to see it is like my body will feel the fear, and I will acknowledge it, and I'll be like, all right, buddy. Like I like to see it like two different entities, but all in one. And I'll be like, you're my best friend. Like you are my spacesuit, but you're alive, and I have to take care of you because you take care of me. It's like a symbiotic relationship. Like I help you, you help me, and we thrive together. So I understand we're feeling fear, right? But we got to do this. So let's do. Let's get some help. Let's get some mentors. Let's read. Let's get some information, and then let's take some action and see how it goes and learn from that. So you got to lead. Be first.
Yes. So fear is not to be ashamed of. It is not to run away from, but it is to embrace because it's a natural part of us.
Yeah,
That's
that's
powerful.
powerful.
Yeah. And yeah. And and as well as you mentioned ego. Ego isn't this big bad thing that is often spoken about. This person has a big ego. No. It's all about acknowledging its presence, and it is your relationship. So it all boils down to your relationship with fear, your relationship with
Yeah.
ego. How do you manage that relationship so it does not overpower or control you? Yeah. Felipe, you mentioned that you are a coach. How do you help your clients?
I help them by increasing their self knowledge through self awareness. So I ask them, hey, so how does this, what are you seeing? I, what's your perspective? Oh, I have this problem. Why is that a problem to you? Right? And so what I help them by creating a safe space for them to feel okay with being vulnerable. And when they do that, when they sense that, they will allow themselves to be seen, and they will speak their fears, they will speak their desires, they will speak their thoughts, they will share their emotions. And in that process of doing that, what I'm doing is helping them, not just getting them to see themselves almost sometimes for the first time, uh, but also clear all that emotion that has been suppressed for such a long time. And when they express, they feel lighter. And when they feel lighter,
Mm.
they are more at peace with themselves, and that gets them to see things clearer, what they want, what they value. How many of us are walking around without really knowing what we value, right? Like just knowing what is it that you value. What are your five values that matter the most to you? And a lot of people will go like, I don't know, let me think. Family, my friends, uh, my job, right? Like it's like haven't even given thought to that. And what we value is what really drives our actions, and our actions drive our habits, and our habits are what create the quality of life that we all lead. And so, uh, how do I help my clients? I help them to increase their self awareness, their self IQ, their knowledge. That's the name of my YouTube channel, Self IQ, because it's about self knowledge. And once you increase your self knowledge, then you can make better aligned decisions and understand. Of course, I help them, giving them also knowledge about how we behave as humans. Like, we are humans living this experience in our lives. And if we don't know the rules of the game of how the human body, the mind, and the body works, how they have this symbiotic relationship, I help you, you help me in surviving and thriving, then we we can get stuck. It's like not knowing the rules of the game. So if if you know the rules of the game versus someone who doesn't, well, a person who knows the rules of the game will be able to win the game, while someone who doesn't know the rules will be always like just dazed and confused all the time, right? Because it's like, man, I don't know, I don't understand. I'm taking all these actions, but nothing's happening, right? It's like, well, that's not part of the rules, or you're going against the rules. So of course you're not going to get what you think or what you expect that you should get. And so it's in this providing the rules of the game with the self knowledge that I get them to see how is their relationship with food, their relationship with themselves, with their relationship to making mistakes, their relationship to feeling emotions, right? How do they, when do, what is it that they value, what identifies them as a human, and and then just asking them what is it that they want to do, because the power must be in them. There's nothing broken with them. They can make the decisions, that the best decisions that they can. They don't they don't I'm not here to provide them for them, because it must come from them, because they are the ones who are going to live and experience both the benefits and the costs of their actions, right? That's how I help them so that they can take better informed decisions towards the outcomes that they want to get. In my field, it is linked to people that have obesity, the disease, and it's a behavioral disease as well, which is why it's all about changing what drives their behavior so that they can create new behavior that becomes the way a lifestyle, their new habits. And in their creating new habits, they will be able to create a new healthy life.
Thank you for that. Because my very next question was going to be, who are the people that you help? So I don't know if you want to go a bit deeper into who are the people that you help.
Yes. The people, it's shifted because, well, it's a journey, right? And first I
Yeah.
started helping. Right. So the problem with helping everyone is, well, when you say, "Hey, I help everyone," nobody listens to you, right? It's like you're not talking to me, Felipe, right?
Who
But
is
if I say,
everyone?
"Hey, I
That's
help
not me.
Canu, I help people whose name is Canu," you're going to say, "Hey, that's me, man. Like you, like let me hear your message," right? So I started out first working with people who had uh, a weight problem, uh, from a very small part to people who had um, obesity and had already had a weight loss surgery, like some sort of surgery. Um, Include like
Okay.
examples of the surgery would be a bypass. So they like almost take away your stomach and then connect the esophagus to leave just a little bit of stomach and connect your small intestine, or a sleeve, which is they cut off 80% of your stomach and leave only 20%, or inserting a balloon which they inflate and they leave there for they inflate with liquid and they leave it for a certain amount of time, and then when the weight loss happens they remove it, right? So I started working with all these people, and then I realized that the people that needed me the most were the ones who, like me, had obesity, and that they they had actually had one of these surgeries, and they were regaining weight, right?
Oh,
Yeah, because to put your life on the line, if you will, it takes courage. It takes confronting that fear and saying, "Hey, I got to do this. Uh, so let's do it." And then what happens is when they start putting on weight after they've lost it, their self-esteem, it just takes a hit. It plummets, and they are just moving away from, "Oh my God, I'm finally solving this problem," to, "Oh my God, I can't believe this was the last resource and I'm losing all the results that I had." And just what that does to a person mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, it just eats away at their soul. And those are the people that need me the most. So those are the people that I'm focusing on to help them out. People who are starting to who are early in their journey to, hey, I'm starting to consider having a bariatric surgery because I have obesity and like I can't sleep well. I'm waking up sore. I can't even put on my shoes. I need assistance to get dressed, or I need to take a break from moving from my bed to the bathroom and coming back, right? It's like people who are experiencing the most difficult parts of the disease, because the surgery is a tool that can help you lose weight, but as but obesity is a chronic disease, is something, it's time bound, right? So as we talked about, it's because of our habits, the way we behave, right? So unless the person makes a shift in their mind, in their mindset, in their identity, in their priorities, then there won't be a long-term shift in their behavior. So they can have the surgery, but if they don't make that mental shift that will lead to a behavioral shift, then they will find a way to bypass the surgery. Like one client once told me, I used to eat like a double patty burger with double cheese and bacon before the surgery, and what I do now after surgery is I cut it. I still buy it, but I cut it in four pieces, and then I eat one piece at a time, right?
Wow.
So we are resourceful. We will find ways when we want to. So it's helping these people, my clients, my audience, is to connect themselves to their resourcefulness to solve this in a healthy way so that they can make the most out of the surgery, so that they can experience a free life, free from all the struggles that obesity brings, being able to sleep well again, to get dressed, to not to love their body, to feel okay with themselves, to be able to share themselves, give themselves permission to feel just like any other human does. That's those are the people that I help.
And I think that you are the best person to help those people because this has been your journey. So I don't think they have a better coach in anyone else but you.
Thank you, Kanu.
You are just suited to help them.
Yeah.
Felipe, this has been a very eye-opening
Kanu,
conversation.
before you move on, something just popped that I want to share, and it's this
Sure.
is don't be afraid of the struggles that you have in your life, because if anything I've learned is that from the struggles that I went through came the most
Mm.
powerful self that I have now. And this is from those struggles. I value them so much because it's exactly that, like you said, kind of this this is why I can help others, and I can help so many others, because I've been through those struggles, right? So and if you take a look around the world, like a lot of the the stories of rags to riches is because those people really touched rock bottom and made something from themselves from that moment. So the struggle is a key component of success. That's what's so value your struggle and use it to propel you forward. And from everything that we've shared in this interview, that you have so brilliantly uh, condensed, Kanu, that seriously, you've done an amazing job of really taking the most powerful things of what we've been talking about and sharing it with your audience. Like, I applaud you, man. That's beautiful, beautiful work. And yeah, that's what I want to say. Like struggles are a key component of success. So value it. Just don't 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 keep thinking that you have to show this perfect picture uh, for you to not be seen as a weak person. All right, that belief is limiting, and it will keep you feeling safe in your comfort zone. And that's never, you're never going to achieve something new and wonderful outside of your comfort zone if you don't step out of it. So connect to that courage and value that struggle, and seek your mentors, seek help, and go out and lead, connect, build trust with community around you, get allies, and see what kind of life you start living, and let us know how whatever little action you take or whatnot, whatever inspires you, like, let us know what you got out of this the taking that action.
Somehow I feel that you preempted my last question.
Yeah,
And here is why. Because I was just about to ask you another
yeah,
question.
shoot.
That's before you said this. And the question was, if, and you will tell me if you have anything else to add, or if the answer that you just gave there, if that would have been the answer to
Okay.
this question. The question I was going to ask is, if you had one message to give to the man who is sitting and listening to this interview, there is only one message that you can give to this man. What would that message be? Would it be that same answer that you just gave?
Yeah,
Or do you have something else
I mean,
to add?
I can add, absolutely, I can add.
Sure.
um let me ask you, the one who's listening, why are you listening to this? Is it because there's something deep inside of you that is looking to find a way to to get to get to something that you want, whether it's material, whether it is spiritual, emotional, and there's that voice inside of you is what's leading you to the answer. So pay attention to that. Really connect to that. Develop that conversation, that foster that relationship with yourself, because that's your spirit in there, who knows what's best for you and will have your best interest at heart. That's where your courage will come from. And it's by leading that you will change. You will create the change you want to see in the world. You will create the life you want to live in the world. Is through change. And there are only two constants in life that I found. One is I'm always with myself. You are always with yourself. 100% of the time. No one else is with you 100% of the time. From the moment you're born to the moment you die. The other constant that I found in life is that everything changes. So try to hold on to a situation, like a specific situation that you want not to change. It's impossible. You are you're living a life that is constantly changing and evolving. Whether it's for the better or for worse, that's just a judgment, and it depends on where you're looking from. So, getting good at changing, at learning to accept change, so you can understand the skills you must develop so that you can move to the next stage that you want to get to, is the game. Life is Your life depends on the skills that you have. You improve the skills you have, you will improve the quality that you have. For you to improve the skills that you have, you need to accept that you don't have them and start looking for help from mentors in so many different books that you can find, and help from people that are around you, and help to change the way you deal with yourself so that you can get rid of all that weight, learn about yourself, and make and like give yourself the best chance to thrive in this life. And you can do it by the few things that you control, which is your own actions. We don't control what other people do around us. We can't. Not even our own kids or our family members, or our partners. We just don't. The only thing we can control is what the meaning we give to what happens to us, and how do we show up to to face that situation, and the actions that we will take. And those actions are going to build or not the skills that will create the life you want.
Felipe, it was a pleasure having you on Manhood Speaks.
Thank you, Kanu, for having me, for the invitation. This has been wonderful. It's been a delight having this conversation with you. Um, and yeah, I want to say to your audience, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Uh, we need to send this message because it's a powerful message that will bring uh, just so much benefit and so much like is it welfare,
Yeah,
like yeah,
benefits.
like
Yeah.
it's going to improve our lives of us and the people that we love, and heal like the world and change our culture, because we don't have to be prisoners of the past. We can create our own future. That's what we inviting you here to do. Be the creator of your own future by accepting your limitations and your emotions, and having the courage to lead in the best way possible, which is showing your vulnerability, creating trust among the people that are around you, and taking action creating allies and reaching out and see what happens, learning, truly becoming a learner at heart. Thank you so much, kind of, for the opportunity to be here. It's been a blast, man. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
I just want to say thank you for checking out the entire episode. Manhood Speaks is a space where regular men like you get to share their experiences so that they can inspire other men. If you wish to be a guest on this show, just send me an email at manhoodspeakspodcast@gmail.com. And I want to ask you to consider subscribing. When you subscribe, you are not just simply subscribing to another YouTube channel. You are becoming a part of a revolution. You are joining a community of brothers, men who are redefining what it means to be a man in modern society today. So subscribe, and I will see you in the next interview.